All right, guys, we've got our preview here for the Washington Commanders over under 6.5 season total wins here. We're going to jump right on into it with the head coach, Dan Quinn. He's also going to be calling plays on the defense, so he'll be the defensive coordinator here. Offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. Really don't love this, at all, but he'll be the offensive coordinator, and we'll see what happens. Really don't love his play calling. Don't love a whole lot of anything, to be perfectly honest, with Cliff Kingsbury. But we can jump right into the roster. Quarterback, Jayden Daniels, of course, second overall pick out of LSU. Plenty of good tools, decent arm, can definitely move in the pocket, can scramble as well. So he's got plenty of tools. He's got some downsides as well. Any other year is he going to? Probably not. But he's going to this year. He's got a small frame. He likes to take hits. He'll have to get better at avoiding hits. Not that I'm thinking he's just going to stand up and get clocked by NFL guys all the time, but, it's something you have to watch out for with Jayden Daniels. Decent arm, as I said. There's a pretty tall ceiling here this first year. This has RG3 kind of vibes to it, or it could. RG3 was very similar to me coming out of college in terms of ability to run where he could throw the ball. Not as good of an arm as RG3 or anything like that, but athletically certainly there. Backup Marcus Mariota, a lot of money for a backup that's really not very good anymore, which could be useful, as I said, if Jayden Daniels doesn't take any hits and doesn't miss any games. Not as much, but I'd be surprised if Jayden Daniels goes 17 games without missing some time in there. But as I said, Jayden Daniels has a decent ceiling here. He could really elevate this team with his legs, with his arm, with his off-script stuff. So there's a decent ceiling here with Jayden Daniels, and hopefully he, for the Commanders' sake, he'll hit it. Most quarterbacks that come out of the draft are better equipped if they're running quarterbacks in that first year, which is also good for him. And when you don't really have tape, it's very difficult to deal with these running quarterbacks week to week. That's what makes Lamar so good. Lamar, if you don't play Lamar all the time, like if you're an NFC team and Ravens are coming off a bye and you're traveling on a short week to Baltimore, you're going to get your ass beat because it's just difficult to deal with quarterbacks like that. And Jayden Daniels will probably fall into that category, and in his first year, he may be a big problem for a variety of different teams. Running back room, don't love it. Brian Robinson's good, down to down. Okay catching the ball, but he's not explosive. Eckler was washed last year, it felt like. He can't really run anymore. He's not really explosive anymore, so there's no explosive stuff here out of the running back room. So it's really on the lower end for me. Tight end room, kind of interesting here. Zach Ertz is good when he's fit and healthy, but he's getting older and, moving around now. Ben Sinnott is interesting player here. I hear him a lot in the fantasy community, but he's got a lot of good tools and stuff like that. And as I said, an older player in front of him who, he could take snaps from, no problem. And then the wide receiver room is interesting. Terry McLaurin, top 20 guy for me. Really good wide receiver. And then the rest are twos. Jahan Dotson is like a mid-range 2. Then 3s really. Luke McCaffrey comes in as a rookie, probably starts. De'Ami Brown's there. Hopefully, they're hoping he takes a step in the right direction. Zacchaeus, Jamison Crowder. So it's a lot of 3s, really. Terry McLaurin, John Dotson, a lot of 3s. So there are bodies there. Bodies I don't particularly love outside the first 2. This is a Terry McLaurin injury away from being a really bad unit, or, a Dotson injury from being a bad unit. So it's very thin, but, top heavy. And there's a really good receiver in there too. So it's not awful. It's not great. So it is what it is. Offensive line, a lot of turnover here. Left tackle Cornelius Lucas comes in. This is going to be his first year starting, or he's mostly a backup. Left guard comes from the Chiefs. Another one who's been mostly a backup. Biadash comes in, starting center. Cosme is an elite tackle, he stands out on this line for sure. He's a top 5 kind of guard. I said tackle, I meant guard. top 5 guard when he's rocking and rolling. Andrew Wiley is okay at right tackle, but at least there's some continuity there on the right-hand side. But I worry about the left-hand side. 2 players who are first-year starters or backups to starters necessarily, or more like, and a new guy at center with a rookie quarterback. So that could be problematic. It's interesting, but there's a lot of downside and a lot of upside here. So it could be a variety of different things on this O-line, but I lean that the right side's okay, left side's probably not okay. So the offense, interesting. My worry here, obviously, Jaden Daniels' health. Cliff Kingsbury is a big issue for me. He had a similar quarterback with Kyler Murray, and he really couldn't get the offense going in a place it really should have been. And I worry that he could hold this team back on his own. But as I said, there are some spots here I don't particularly love. They're an injury or 2 away in the wide receiver room from being awful. I hate the running back room. Tight end room is what it is. And there's upside, but also downside on the offensive line. So there are a lot of different things you can find here with the Commanders. You can probably make an argument for upside and downside here. It's an interesting group, that is for sure. Onto the defensive side, defensive line, interior is good. Deron Payne's good. Jonathan Allen's good. They got Johnny Newton in the draft as well. So the interior is really nice. I like the interior. Edge is not good. So it just isn't. Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, Clinton Ferrell. These are guys that are way past it. And Clinton Ferrell starting on any offense or any defensive line is scary to me. So I love the interior, hate the edge. It's one of those groups. I'm not so sure how much pass rush they're going to get. But as I said, I like the interior. So an interesting group. Linebacker room is okay. Luvu comes in. He's probably their best signing just in general. Best free agent. Bobby Wagner comes in, but Bobby Wagner is kind of going away. And outside of the run stop, he doesn't have it anymore. I know he got all pro votes or whatever last year and stuff like that, but he really didn't play particularly well. As I said, good run stopper. And I think the unit as a whole probably would be a good run stopping unit because of the interior, the defensive line, and these are 2 pretty decent tackling linebackers, but he can't really cover anymore. So it's an interesting group. I really like Luvu. Don't like Wagner. Jamin Davis he's been getting better at least. So it's an interesting group. Nothing crazy good, nothing crazy bad. And the secondary, this is where things kind of fall apart a little bit for me. We can talk about the safety group first. Forrest is all right. He stays from last year. Jeremy Chin comes in for Cameron Curl. That is a step down. It's a step down. I don't want to say like a huge significant step down because it is safety still. But it is a step down. As for corner, this is a weird group. St. Juste is okay. And then they bring in Mike Davis, who was unplayable last year at times. Emmanuel Forbes is still there, who was benched at times last year as well. That may be a bust right there, but we'll see. And then Nickel's probably going to be a rookie. Sainra still. So we got a good corner, 2 corners that were benched. Mike Davis wasn't benched, but he was unplayable. And then a rookie at nickel. So I really dislike the corner room overall. They'll hope Forbes can take a step and that the rookie can come in and play well, but rookies don't come in at corner and play super, super well very often. You know, it's very rarely that players come in NFL ready at corner. And nickelback playing with some of these slots is going to be very, very difficult. So not a great group. I like Dan Quinn as a defensive play caller, but I also thought it was slightly overrated what he was doing in Dallas at the time. So we'll see. I don't know how much pressure they're going to get. They're going to be a better run stopping unit. I'm not sure how much pressure they're going to get. I'm not sure how much the secondary is going to be able to hold on to receivers. So I think you're going to be able to pass on this team quite a bit. As for the schedule, it's a weird schedule because my original thought was, when I'm thinking about the Commanders, when you just go through the roster, my original thought is either go over the top or way under. Their win total is like 6.5. You don't want to go over under 6.5 on just the win total there. I kind of want to find alternate unders or alternate overs depending on where I think it'll go. I was thinking originally alternate unders, like 5.5 was plus 190, 4.5 was 4-1 or something like that. But the schedule doesn't necessarily line up in a way where they're going to get blasted like all the time. There are some winnable games here. At Tampa Bay to start, then the Giants. Those are both winnable. And then at Cincinnati is a really tough spot. I worry that if Cincinnati's fully healthy and firing from the beginning of the season, that Cincinnati can put up 35. At Arizona, 3 road games in the first 4. And while there are 3 winnable games there, on the road early, a lot of travel is not ideal. Then you got Cleveland at Baltimore. Those are 2 tough games. And then Carolina, Chicago, at the Giants. Those are all winnable. Pittsburgh, at Philadelphia, Dallas. That's a really tough 3-game stretch. And then Tennessee before the bye, at New Orleans, Philadelphia, Atlanta, at Dallas. So there are winnable games here. I don't want to go alt under because of the schedules kind of lines up a little bit. But as I said, I don't want to go alt over. But if you are going to go over, I would recommend going alt overs. I just don't believe Daniels is going to be healthy the whole year. I don't love Cliff Kingsbury on offense there, and Mariota's not someone I want to bet on either. So it's an interesting schedule, an interesting group with, I'm really not sure where I am with Washington. Just going through everything, it's tough to look at it, or look at them, look at the roster and go, man, I love the roster, because I don't. There are obvious weaknesses in a variety of spaces, left side of the line, running back room, edge, secondary. But as I said, the schedule's okay, and Dan Quinn can elevate this defense, and Jaden Daniels can elevate the offense. So I didn't want to go under, or I didn't want to go over. Don't love the schedule to go all under. So our bet is going to be Chicago Bears to have more wins than the Commanders at minus 230. That is a $2.30 bet. The Bears are on the schedule. They'll be slight underdogs at home to Chicago. Chicago's schedule lines up a little bit better. Chicago's defense is a significant step up. Love the wide receiver room more, like the running back room more. Offensive line is, and Caleb Williams is the 1 overall pick versus the 2 overall pick. And I just see more pluses on the Bears side than I do on the Commanders side. Obviously, this could be a loss, but I think the Bears have a similar up and down average that the Commanders do, and I trust the better roster, trust the better offensive coach, trust the better skill group, trust the better defense. So we're going to go with the Bears to have more wins than the Commanders at minus 230. There's a $2.30 bet. They have to win that outright. There's a tie option and a Commanders option, so if they both finish on 9 wins, that's a loss, but I like the Bears here to have more wins than the Commanders. And that is our Commanders 2024 NFL preview.